Good afternoon. Is that Kira?
Yes.
Ah, okay. I know it wasn't you, so I'm trying to figure out who it was, and I realized that you stepped in. Oh, it's great to see that you're here. I didn't expect you to be here this week.
Yeah.
All right. Huh? No, just. Alrighty. Right. So just press that one. Okay. All right. Good. All right. Let me just quickly introduce you. Oops. Where are you? Okay, that's Sonia over there, looking all studious. Alright, that's Kira, and this over here, if I can find her, however. Okay, and that's Shoshana right there, okay? We're expecting the rest to come along. Soon enough. Right, okay? Have you been able to read anything, Kira?
Yes, I was able to read what you had sent by email, and this morning I looked at the video of last week's class.
Okay, so what you can do is tell me if there are any, little areas where you're not quite getting something, but hopefully you'll be okay. All right.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Now.
Well, no. As I'm going through, you can stop me.
Okay.
What I'm saying is I don't want you to end up not understanding something as we're going through and you don't say anything. So I want you to feel comfortable to stop us at any point. We've gone through 3 sessions, so it's a lot of information. But at the same time, everything is so connected that if you miss one thing, you could possibly miss a number of things. Yeah. So I would want to clear any gaps. All right. We're going to start actually by going through the assignments. You should have the assignment. You have the first assignment, the blog assignment.
I have not done that assignment as yet.
No, nobody has, I'm positive. So Shada's asking me, how can I be so positive? But I'm quite positive here, and I know has completed the assignment, right? If anything, they're probably looking at the assignment at this point in time, right?
I have it.
So I just want you to be able to have it there. So you have it there to read, to look at, right? Great.
I have it.
The idea is we're going to start by looking at that. What is going to happen is that my face and our faces will eventually disappear when I start sharing the PowerPoint, all right? So we can still see you though, and we can hear you. Okay, so I'm assuming everybody now has gone through it. Ladies here, and well, it's only Kira so far. So what is required of you here? I'm just going to read through it quickly. Ministry of Education in your territory has asked each principal to select an outstanding teacher who is able to model the use of CLT to teachers of English across the region. Your principal has selected you as a representative for this project. As a part of the start of this new post, you have been asked to write a blog on the teaching of the target language, which we are saying is Standard English, to Caribbean students. Then it goes and lists. The first thing you have to do is identify an appropriate, eye-catching title for your blog. Then you have to offer 2 reasons which outline why the information you offer in your blog is important and relevant. And then you have to present your blog. So those 2 would be outside of the blog, okay? And then you have to present your blog in not more than 500 words with the title there, just so that it can look good, ensuring that you utilize at least 6 specific keywords taken from units 1 to 3. Now, units 1 to 3 for you, we'll be looking at everything in that first section. I think on your course outline, if I'm remembering correctly, it has a section 1 which will be looking at the theoretical aspect of things, right? And so that's what it will be for you. Everything up to when we start oral language communication, which we have not yet started and will not start until next week. So where we are in the course now, we are focused on the theory, setting the foundation for why we think the way we think about language and language use, language teaching, all right? And so this document is to reflect your understanding of just that, the theoretical principles surrounding language teaching, language use, communication, language and communication, Okay, so you notice it says 6 specific keywords, right? With the exception of this session, for most sessions, and we'll still touch on it today, for most of the sessions, what we end up doing is looking at a recap of the words that we have been looking at that keep standing out, okay? And that's important because those words formulate the what we would call the jargon for this course, okay? So when you know certain terms, you know that, okay, I'm on my way to understanding certain concepts. I'm familiar with the idea of functional. I'm familiar with language use. I'm familiar with communicative competence. I'm familiar with CLT. Those are keywords, right? But of course, there are a number of keywords we would have looked at. And so the idea is that students will pick from that list. And it doesn't mean that I would have had to have placed it as a keyword, okay? But you recognize that we've been looking at this over and over, all right? And so you utilize that in whatever you're writing. Now, you're not going to utilize it in such a way that it stands out in an awkward way. You utilize it so that it flows with your blog and what you're saying. Okay, so showing that you're able to also use the word contextually yourself, modeling, of course, the principles of the course, language using content in the context. Okay, all right, so having said that, I don't need to read all the rest. When it says to help you with this assignment, and you look at B, and it says visit that website. That website just gives you information about blogging, okay? The way, the style of blogging. It is not that this assignment is going to go on the internet. Okay, students in the past have, as I said, traced me off properly because they want to put it online. But we have to be careful about that because, you know, it's content, it's personal, it's restricted to the UWI. We have to, there are all kinds of repercussions for placing these kinds of things online, okay? So that little section there, I think it's useful. Some students have used it, especially if you've never done anything on blogging before, right? It would be useful to help you. And I have indicated there, I believe it's on your paper, ignore any content that speaks to workflow and RSS. Are you seeing that on the assignment?
Yes.
Right. So, you know, that's just telling you those are technical elements to deal with the blogging that you really don't have to concentrate on. All right, the blog is literally a context within which to couch or place your own writing. All right, and when you look below that, you will see the, where's that now? You will see, right, that, Vernon, are you there? Sorry, let me just check. Good afternoon. Vernon, are you there? Your mic is on mute if you're there. If you're hearing me, I'm seeing a picture to indicate that you're around, but your mic is on mute. So that's it.
I'm here.
Oh, lovely.
No?
All right. Okay, you can put it back now. Okay, great. Just making sure.
Right.
All right. So if you have a question, say that again, Vernon.
The website that you mentioned.
Yes, it should be on your document. You're not seeing it for your assignment, on your assignment?
I'll get that.
It should be on the assignment itself. It should say visit so-and-so to assist you with whatever. It should say it, so you should have it there. Okay? And then when you, sure. And then when you continue to the end of the assignment, you have a mark scheme there, is that correct? I'm saying that because I have an extra blow up of what I gave you. So your assignment, is everybody seen a mark scheme on the assignment, attached to the assignment? Great. So the mark scheme, of course, is there to guide you. It tells you how you will be graded and what would be expected of you. Okay? Any questions? So now I'll take questions. And that's, of course, is where I'll take questions now. I'll take them now. Sorry, 50%. Yes, yes. Hush. Yes. 15, what it has there, 20 marks? 15. No, but count the marks for me, please. Because we change it depending on who we have. Right, it's 15 marks, 50%. It shouldn't be 20 marks, right. Okay, so any questions? Is anything on there? Okay, now the only issue I'm seeing right now is the issue of those of you who are not here, okay? Because what should have happened by now is the RVLE site, I'm seeing it up from it's on my course container. I see the RVLE site having up EDLA5106 on my course container, but you all are not there. Okay, so when I look at participants, I don't see anybody that I'm currently teaching. I see past students on it. Yes. So I don't know. So, do you all have access to RVLE? You haven't tried?
Yes.
Kira, sorry.
Registering this week.
Oh, okay. Kira, you were saying.
I wasn't aware we had to access that.
You weren't made aware of it. Oh, okay. Then what you're saying is that
They told us last week Wednesday that this week we should be
okay, so what I'm hearing now is that by this weekend you should be able to register if you haven't already and gain access to RVLE. So usually that's how the courses run, to be honest, and that's usually how I prefer it, because what happens is the units are automatically placed in that container and you have all the articles and everything is under each unit. So when it's time for revision or you get lost and you want to run through something, everything is neatly placed, yes, under each unit. So that I do prefer it. So if that's the case, we don't have a problem, because then you all would need to upload your assignments. Okay, those of you who are not on the physical Mona campus would need to upload the assignments. All right. So everybody's good to go with the assignment. Sonia. Okay, tell me. Donna's on the floor. Yes, of course. Yes. What were you saying? How do you print it? Everything is right there. If you go to that website, it will help you to create it. But the important thing, I'm not sure if you missed when you came in, the important thing for me is not the formatting of your blog. The blog acts as a context for what you are writing. So I'm not marking you because you did not put a flower in the corner or because there's no text box. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm not looking at, oh my, this is the worst blogger ever. I'm not looking at that. I'm trying to ascertain if what you have written is what I'm grading. So there's to be a certain style. Clearly, it's a blog, so I'm not expecting it to sound like an essay. Are you with me? But at the same time, I'm not expecting to see informal uses of language. With me? So the reason the blog is there, it sets a context. So you need to have an idea of what blogs do, which is why I've given you the website. When you go to the website, it will give you the information for different ideas, variety and style of writing, that kind of thing. But I am not focused on how your blog looks per se. That doesn't mean that you're not to make it look good, okay? But that's not the focus. And please, I'm begging you, don't go and create a site. Yes, don't create a site and post online. I'm begging you. I've had students do it. It messes us up. Yeah. Well, the students have managed to find ways. You have ways to not pay. All right. So we can move on there. Everybody is good. Vernon, you're good with that, with the assignment thus far. And of course, you can always email at any point if you need any further assistance on it. Okay. All right. So we're gonna move to the PowerPoint. Let me just try and thank you. All right. So this is our focus. Let's move to our focus for today. Communicative competence and the social and psychological factors affecting communication. Hi there. All right. That's where we are today. And this is what we'll be finishing up. This is highly connected to their hands, right? Remember that lovely assignment that you heard about last week? I was just wondering if you remember that lovely assignment. Vernon, did you remember that lovely assignment? Okay, in silence. Paradoxical. Vernon, are you still there? Not hearing from you. Again, I'm seeing mute on your mic. Kira, you're not seeing Leah there. You're alone there, right?
Yes, I'm alone.
Okay. Oh, Vernon.
Yes, I'm here.
Yes.
I'm here.
Did you
Sorry,
do that lovely assignment, Vernon?
but I am Mama Talos.
Oh, you cannot admit that. You have to find a better way to say it. Like you didn't do it. Okay. Did anybody here look at it? You're supposed to create a speaking acronym for a breakup in a relationship or everybody's, oh, that one. Goodness. Yes. You don't remember that?
Well,
I want to, yes, can we, before I move on with the communicative competence, I want to touch on that because everything we're doing as of now is connected to Himes and he acts as that kind of foundation. Holiday is important too, yes, but Himes speaks specifically on communicative competence. All right, so do you all have you all should, well, I sent everybody the PowerPoint, but you all should have the notes on the, let me see if I can carry it up here, hold on. Hold on. Gosh, I'm trying to find my, there we go. All right, let's, oh really? Interesting. What was he doing in the news? Let's see if we can just go back here. This is what we would have done last week. Okay. Okay. Let me go to slideshow. I'm sorry, this thing is very difficult to manipulate when it's, there we go, from current slide. Okay, so let's just refresh our memories. Oh, there we go. All right, so we have the speaking acronym, and there is supposed to be a G there. I'm not sure why the PowerPoint decided to break it down. Just to refresh, so Himes uses this acronym to speak of the communicative event. All right, and this is why the important thing here is that even if we understand or learn and understand the structure of language, the fact of the matter is, if we do not understand how to use language in a given context, then the structures really at the end of the day don't matter. They won't make any difference, okay? So as a result of that, he developed the speaking acronym. And the speaking acronym then is used to kind of offer a description of a language event or situation, how it functions. So the speaking acronym, S, setting and scene. Setting refers to the time and concrete place, yes, where the event is, where the communicative event is taking place. So right now we're in a classroom, all right? While scene refers to the psychological atmosphere or culturally defined stance. For example, the degree of formality expected. Is that clear to everybody, what the scene would look like? All right. Then we have participants, and that speaks of both the sender and the receiver, the participants in the act of communication, right? We have the ends, which really speak to the expected outcomes and personal goals, which might be different sometimes, okay? So a trial has different expectations, or different people have different expectations and goals. Agreed? In a trial, the witnesses, the defense, the prosecution, the person who's being prosecuted, and we could go on and we could go on. Everybody has a different expectation of the outcomes. The expected outcomes and the personal goals, that's what you see as ends. Okay? Act sequence, the actual form and content of what is said. So this is where we're looking at the message now. All right? Public lectures and cocktail chatter and casual conversation are different forms of speaking. So you're looking at the message here. Okay? All right. And K for key refers to the tone or the manner, what type, or, you know, what way is the person speaking? Is it serious? Is it jovial? You know, light-hearted? You know, seeming to be over the top, show off, what we would call show off, right? If there's a mismatch between the content and the key, then what is going to happen is that the listeners are more likely to look at the key than the content, and that's very important. Okay, so if you have this really humorous content, but you are delivering in a very serious tone with a very serious expression, nobody's going to get that joke. So that joke will be lost on the crowd. Okay. All right. Instrumentalities refers to the choice of channel. So that's the spoken word or the written word, or now we have digital. So we're utilizing the digital right now. Okay. So instrumentalities also include, which we'll look at a little more today, the forms of speech or register. Now remember a while ago when I spoke of the keywords, okay? So that forms a particular register. There's a register that I'm utilizing, and it's called a subject-focused register. So you know when you deal with discourse, you're dealing with a certain set of terms and terminologies, okay? English, Jamaican Creole, or you have Creole from St. Lucia. I think Lyra had told us about the French Creole, Kira, and just the different types of Creoles across. All right, so moving from one language variety to another during one conversation between English and French in Montreal, for example, is an idea, an example of instrumentality. All right. Norms of interaction and interpretation. What are the expectations of the persons who are actually communicating? For example, lectures are not expected to be amusing, and so that's not supposed to be the key that they use. That's what it said. Okay. Can you think of any other? On the news, the reporter on the news is not expected to laugh at a particular, situation or incident, or in like manner is not expected to be breaking down and crying and sobbing when hearing bad news. The expectations of the partner, it's going to be looking at the key, but I'm looking at what are your expectations in this of me? What do you expect of me? So the key comes into it only when you're looking at, well, she's a lecturer, so why is she utilizing that key? Why is she speaking that way? So it's your expectations, and it's also my expectations of you in this event. But I'm expecting that you're listening, but you're gone, that kind of thing, okay? All right, so the genre, right, is really looking at, what genre means. A genre means type, okay? So it's looking at, is this a lecture? So right now, I hope I don't have lectures, but okay, this is a session or a seminar. You have sermon, yes, you have prayers, you have a funeral oration, a TV weather reporting. You're not expecting those genres to look the same, all right? They differ based on what is expected of the genre, all right? So let's go through it quickly together, right? Let's look at the breakup of the relationship. So that's what we got to look at last week. We're looking at the breakup of a relationship. All right. So I don't want to put you on the spot. Here, I'm going to put you on the spot as about the third or fourth time. Okay. So you have a lot of time to breathe. Get ready. Okay. Brian, I'm putting you on the spot. All right. I want you to think of this breakup. So two people are there, and a breakup is about to occur. Could you define a possible setting, which would refer to the time and the concrete place that this might take place?
Well, what's up? Every now and then it happens over, over the phone or over the, really before. But really, in a real context, it might be, say in a bedroom, two persons sitting together, coming to having a real talk.
Yeah.
Or it could be, say, if the gentleman is trying to let down the lady easily, or the lady is trying to let down the gentleman easily, like being somewhere that is accommodative, for example. How do you you were saying you're giving me the breakup.
Yes, no, and I'm saying, so with the setting, we need to know the time and the location. So you were saying in the bedroom, Sonia's viciously disagreeing with that. But you're saying bedroom, and I'm saying what time? What time?
No, but it might be, right, so it might be, say, time and place. Well, probably at a time when both of us don't have to worry when we are sleeping. But or it could be, I don't know, I think it might be over the phone. I've never had to.
You've never had to do that. Thank goodness right now, because that expensive. Okay. All right.
Or it could be, I suppose, you know, it can be any means of communication. It might not necessarily an actual, both of them in the actual physical place. Can be, certainly it's hard to, I don't think I'll be able to pick it up late at night unless there's a fight.
Okay.
And it probably wouldn't take early morning.
Early morning.
So that's,
Okay. All right. What's the degree of formality, which would refer to the scene? Could you tell me the degree of formality? Sashana, I'm coming to you next.
It would be highly informal. I don't expect it to be on the formally written letter saying that you are broken up.
Right. Okay.
Absolutely perfect English. Don't expect an objective tone to say that, you know, well, you know, it is really regret that I must tell you that.
Okay, so you're not expecting a high level of formality. You're expecting a low degree of formality, really, right?
Right.
Informality. All right, lovely. Okay, still on the same breakup. We're gonna move to Sashana now. So we're looking at who is involved, which is really easy. Why not give Sashana this one? Right. So combinations of people involved as the addressor, addressee, sender, receiver, and so on. Of course, you realize that it could be more than 2 participants as well. Okay, so you're on the floor, Sashana.
Okay. Could be 3 persons. It all depends on the breakup or the breakup.
Okay. So what would be the situation if it was if we had 3 persons there? Who would be the participants?
The participants would be, all right, say a husband and wife, and the third party would be, all right, what's the
Did you hear that word, Kira? I don't know if Kira, did you hear that word from Sonia?
I heard husband and wife, and I didn't get the last part.
And I'm trying to find Sonia. Right, so that's Sonia there. And Sonia said, and the matey. I don't know if
Okay.
okay, yes, so she gets that. So you understand that word, right?
Yes.
Extramarital, she says, tries to change her scene. Anyway, okay. So yes, Stefano.
Alright, so yes, it is it can as well, it can be the other way around. If it's the woman, then the other person, main person who is involved.
Okay.
Then the sender of the message will be the person who's breaking up with.
Right.
Receiving the person who is
Receiving the bad news.
receiving the bad news.
If it's bad news. No, not the bad news.
A breakup not really bad.
Of course, it may not be bad news. The person may just have been waiting for that opportunity.
Somebody's going to have to.
Okay. Alright. Okay. Alright, so let's look at the expected outcome. Sonia, I'm going to give you that one. Let's look at the expected outcome and personal goals. So what is expected from the sender, right, who is the breakupper, and what is expected from the recipient, who is the person with whom the sender is now breaking up. Let's go with sender first. First of all, do they have different goals or different expectations for the outcome of this?
Clearly.
Okay.
Clearly,
So let's look at that.
So the sender probably expect anything, you know.
Sender expects anything.
Anything.
Okay.
Right. Well, the intention is for it to be severed.
Right.
For the breakup to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But there probably is an expectation of violence, of
calm, of relief.
So it's all over the place.
Yes.
In other words, you don't know what's going to happen.
You don't know what the outcome.
Okay.
I mean, you know what you want to achieve, but at the end of it, still you don't have the reaction.
Okay. All right. And what about the recipient? What would be the expectation? And that's, of course, dependent on if the recipient knows he or she is about to enter into this situation. Yes.
Right. It can be, it could be that the recipient got the message unexpectedly.
Right.
Right. Or it could be that the recipient is relieved.
Right. Okay. So in terms of expectation, it would be that they're highly curious, wondering what this meeting is about. Yes, what is happening, or they're expecting it, and so there's a sense of relief as a result of the fact that, you know what, this is what I would have wanted. So, yes.
It could be, looking at it, if it's a divorce, clearly communication probably was taking place, and it is not before, and it is not a point where let us have closure, so the closure would be the expected thing.
Right.
So here it is, we have to take.
So both might be on the same wavelength. Great. Okay. All right. Kira.
Yes.
Let's go with you now. So you're going to be looking at the actual form and content of what is said now. Okay. What is it that is being said? And what format does it take? So let's look at the format. What format do you think this would take? Is it going to be like Vernon said, is it going to be through the WhatsApp? Right? Is it across on the phone? What format is it going to take? And what content will be discussed?
Okay, for format, I would say face to face.
Right.
Probably he's there, she's there, so they right next to each other talking. And
what do you think the content would be like? What's the content going to be surrounding?
I think the content, he would probably start by apologizing. To prepare her. Probably she probably came like, well, most likely she had no idea that they're going to break up. So I think he would probably start initially by maybe apologizing and then trying to explain to her why he wants to break up.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So in other words, and the idea is that based on going back to what Vernon said, so this would be casual conversation, yes?
Yes.
Right. Casual conversation. Though we can look at the style of language later on. Okay. Shanti, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So Shanti, let's look at the key. And of course, this is referring to the tone or the manner in which the message is being conveyed. What do you think about it? What do you think it would be?
I think the tone would be serious. Even though I think it could be, is there such a tone as familiar?
You could. I understand what you mean by familiar tone, meaning that there's an air of familiarity.
But
yes.
I think the tone would be serious, more
okay.
serious,
subdued. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Because of the nature of what is being discussed.
Okay. All right. So this is not time for jokes.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Choice of channel again. We're coming back to what you recognize how they overlap. Hopefully by this time you're recognizing how the different acronyms go, right? So you can't really go into one without understanding the other and knowing the other. So is it spoken? We have been speaking about spoken, haven't we? Yes. If they're together in a particular place, everyone had said the bedroom and they're face to face, as Kira had said, then the idea is that they're speaking and not writing, and it's not across Skype. Yes?
No barrier.
And no what?
No barrier.
No barrier. Okay? All right, everybody's good with that? Yes? All right. Vernon had already answered some of this, I think, with the Jamaican Creole and the Creole and the English. Everybody remember that he was saying that he doesn't think they would be speaking standard English in a very formal manner. So we agree with that. Okay, so we can move from instrumentalities. The expectations of the participants. What is the What is the female? Let us say the male is the one who's doing the breakup, because that's what most people have said. So what is the expectation in terms of how this male is going to now approach? What is the female's expectation of him? That he will change his mind? But look at how, no, hold on. Let's not go astray now. We're not trying to ascertain his will and his plans or his intentions. We're trying to ascertain how he will approach the language event, the communicative event. So what are we expecting him to be like in that communicative event? Right. What are we expecting him to sound like? What are we expecting him to how are we expecting him to use language?
I would say more like apologetic,
Okay.
or urgent.
Right? Understood?
Oh, baby, I'm sorry.
Oh, baby, I'm sorry. Janice said. Okay, so you see what I'm saying? Just like lecturers are not, it's not expected that the lecturer is going to be amusing. In the same way, it's not expected that this male partner is going to be dealing with an issue like this and is expected to mind you that if the person is okay? But that must be you and Kira meeting up for the first time. All right. Hi, good to see you. All right. So the genre now. Talk to me about the genre. It's not a lecture. It's not sermon. It's not prayers. What is it? What format? What genre is this taking place in? Because we know it's spoken. Yes, it's spoken. So it's an informal or casual conversation, dialogue between two people. Everybody's good with that for genre? Yes, because it's not written, it's spoken. All right, we did it. And you did pretty well. Which one?
Was a severing between an employee and an employee. That's the kind of relationship.
Say that again. I said, oh yes, okay. Between an okay. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so Sonia was saying she really wasn't on the romantic side of things a while ago. She was really looking at employee. Anybody else? Two best friends. Yeah. So, okay. For me. All right, Tosh. So we have difference in perception, and we're going to look at that actually today. So that's a perfect plug. But everybody is clear on what just happened a while ago and how you were able to apply. The more you practice it, is the more used to it you're going to get. But the important thing is to recognize that most of these things, if not all, actually take place in a given communicative event. And so this should inform your tasks, right? So when you're giving students the tasks, are you clear on certain aspects that will involve interaction? Yes? And these aspects, of course, are outlined here. All right. So let me try and close this. Bear with me until I get to move the pictures right. And I want to go back to that. Are we there? Yes. And I would like this thing to move out of the way. It's not moving out of the way. I'm coming. All right, let's go. All right. So we've done our basic discussion on assignment 1. Looked at the speaking acronym. So what we have left for the rest of today is looking at communicative competence, looking at the social factors which affect communication. We're going to look at the psychological factors as well, which affect communication. And we're seeing little bits of it coming out already in the session. Okay? We've done that already. So just to keep you, let me try to hide these pictures again. Okay. So just to keep you in line, so Delheims created this speaking acronym, right? And one of the reasons he created it was because he was pinpointing the concept of communicative competence, all right? And he was saying, listen, if we are going to claim to be competent language users, then we have to be able to communicate, because that's the point of using language, right? And so out of this, what he's saying is communicative competence is a dynamic rather than a static concept. So meaning it's going to change, it's going to evolve over time, it's not rigid, it's not a certain way in all situations. It will shift and change depending on situations. It is a dynamic rather than a static concept that depends on the negotiation of meaning between two or more persons who share some knowledge of the language. And notice that negotiation of meaning, very important, okay? All right, let's move to the next one quickly. Communicative competence should not be thought of as only an oral phenomenon. And I think it's important to plug this because remember, go back to that sheet of paper on misconceptions of the CLT approach. One of the misconceptions is that CLT only deals with the oral. And that's not true. Okay, it looks at writing as well, and we have an entire unit on writing. When we come to that, you'll be able to see how it works. It applies to both written and spoken language. Communicative competence is context specific. So all that I did before, if you can go back to the start of the class, everybody has had access to the PowerPoints, even if you weren't here. When I kept stressing the idea of language structure versus language in context, this is where we were going, okay? So communicative competence outside of a context, really, based on what these theorists say, does not exist, okay? It is context specific in that communication always takes place in a particular context or situation. The communicatively competent language user will know how to make appropriate choices in register and style to fit the particular situation in which the communication occurs. And that's important, going back again to the grammar, because the student is able quite nicely to fill out all of these grammar rules to put the noun in the right place, have subject-verb agreement, but then gets in a situation where he or she is passing a staff meeting and the teacher pulls him or her into the staff meeting and he or she freezes, not just because of shyness, but because he or she is not sure how to use language within that context. The only way they've been using it is within a classroom context, and so they freeze in other contexts. Sometimes what we call shyness is actually somebody not willing to step forward because they don't know how. Okay? All right. It is important to bear in mind the theoretical distinction between competence and performance. Now, both of them are interlocked, but it's important that we see the distinction. Competence speaks of what I know. Okay? That's how we deal with competence. When I'm competent, it's what I know. Performance, however, is what I do. So you can see how they're interlocked, but it's also important that we see the difference between both. All right? So performance is observable. Competence is not observable. Right now, you have no clue if what is in my head is rubbish. Seriously. So you come in and think about even you yourselves when you meet a lecturer for the first time. Think of yourselves as teachers when students meet you for the first time. Right? When you look at the person, you're already sizing out the person. Well, me no know, you know. Right? I'm not sure if this person is, and or on the other hand, you might say, wow, I like how this person looks, how this person, and then you may get the reverse when the person starts speaking. Okay? So when the performance now is observable, so you can start looking and you can start saying, no, sir. What I saw is not what I felt was going to be the case, and vice versa. Okay? So performance is observable, and it is only through performance that competence can be developed. So we cannot know, we cannot say that a student is competent unless we see what the student is doing with the language. Okay? And of course, that speaks highly to us. I don't know about you guys in St. Lucia, but I know in Jamaica we are very status conscious and very appearance oriented in many ways. Look at students and determine if they're quote unquote bright or dunce, right? And if they, you know, especially if they behave nice and quiet and they're dressed very nicely. We're very, what would you call it now? Very, very disappointed if they open their mouths or give us their papers and we're not seeing the reflection of what we thought they were. Okay? All right. Communicative competence includes, listen carefully, it includes the notion of grammatical competence, and it feels that this is an essential part of communicative competence, but it doesn't stop there. Okay? And grammatical competence, therefore, would speak to that linguistic knowledge, that understanding of the language structurally. So it is not saying we leave it out. It is saying that in order to be communicatively competent, I must understand the rules of grammar. But I can't stop there. Okay? So Michael Canal and Merrill Swain in 1980 kind of took all of these ideas that were going around and decided to formulate 4 components of communicative competence, which in their mind, and I think to a great extent, actually presented a balance, okay? You have grammatical competence, which we just spoke of, discourse competence, sociolinguistic competence, and strategic competence. So let's look at each of them and then we'll see if we have an understanding. The grammatical competence, as I said, that's linguistic knowledge. It's knowledge of lexical items, rules of sentence structure, words, sounds, anything that has to do with the mechanics of the language, okay, and understanding the technical aspects of the language. When we move from grammatical competence, we move to discourse competence. Now, discourse competence is my ability to connect sentences that are engaged or embedded in a particular discourse and to make sense of those sentences. So when I get a paragraph, that will tell you if I have any discourse competence. When I get a descriptive paragraph and I'm able to make sense and I can eventually say, oh, all right, so what is happening is that the writer is talking about X, and this looks like a descriptive piece of writing. All of those things, that's discourse competence. I can know the difference between an advertisement and an article, and what else? And an interview, based a press release, etc. I know the difference because I have discourse competence. Why you face makeup, Shante?
I was thinking, I went to church.
Yes.
And told him that the pastor, he had the message clearly outlined.
Yes.
But it's sort of mixed.
Yes.
You're lost in the middle of the sermon.
Interesting. Lack of discourse competence. Yes, it would be. So in other words, Tashana, sorry, can you just move that lovely floor back? Yes. That's what I saw. Yes.
He got competent with his discourse.
Exactly. So it means that in putting his ideas together, there is a problem. Yes, and putting your ideas together speaks to your ability to know how sentences function, to know the paragraphing, to know that when you look at this paragraph, it does not flow fluently into the other paragraph. Not only that, to understand that I'm writing a sermon. I'm not putting something that people are able to read and look at while I'm speaking. Yes. Excellent.
And it's not just one. He had that problem because it has been 2 occasions. The second time I went and I heard that he was going to be the speaker, I turned on my recorder because I said, maybe it's the devil just wanting to pay attention. So okay. Allow somebody else to listen to it to see if it's me or if it's him. He's totally lost.
Wow.
That means I need to depend on
but somebody needs to tell him. Hopefully somebody meaning, you know, the ideas you, yes, somebody needs to say something. Kira and Lyra. I hope I know that. I was just gonna say, please go front to the camera because I'm just seeing this empty computer. I'm just seeing computer. Thank you. I'd like to see some faces. All right. And I'm used to see it. Right. There we go. Okay. So you're good. You're understanding all that we're looking at. Okay. So we also look at sociolinguistic competence, right? And sociolinguistic competence, which we've spoken really quite a bit about already, is the ability to follow sociocultural rules of language based on social contexts and the rules of interaction within these contexts. So this is related to the society and the culture. What are the social norms for interaction? What are the cultural norms? For example, 2 adults are speaking and a child is around. What is the typical situation? Does the child just barge in and say, hey, what is the child expected to do? Yes. Wait until they're finished. They wait up to be acknowledged. Lyra, you were saying something?
Excuse me, please. Wait.
Excuse me, please. And of course, expect that you can say, hold a minute, not just say, excuse me, please, and dive straight into the conversation. Right. Okay. So that's the so realize then, ladies and gentlemen, that sociocultural, the sociolinguistic competence tells you're able to state when a speaker is competent in that way because of the fact that they understand that language shifts according to the social and cultural context in which the speaker is actually existing at that particular point. What is the case for St. Lucia may not be the case for Jamaica. What is the case in the Caribbean may not be the case in the European world, and we could go on and on. The other day I took my children to this place we have here called Tea Tree Creperie. Anybody ever been there? It's fabulous. I mean, you only go there like once every year. It's that with Jerry is not my thing. It is on Hillcrest Avenue in Kingston. I don't know if you in St. Lucia you have crepes. We don't have it in Jamaica, but this place has it. You know what crepes are? It's like pancake. Yeah, that's really flat. And you know what a crepe is?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's really flat, and then they put different stuffings. It could be, you could have savory crepes and you can have sweet crepes. You know, I'm gonna go for the sweet crepes, right? I can do the savory at home. but they have it. You can have fruits. But the point is, I took it there, and it's not fine dining. It's not what we would call a very stush place in one sense, but it's quite pricey. So it's not somewhere I would go all the time. It was a treat for them. So we use knives and forks. And what happened is that with the knife and fork, you put the knife and fork, we put it side by side in the middle, right? And that indicates that we have finished eating. So I did that. And then she came and she said, "Are you finished?" so I said, yes, I'm here wondering, as after all of these years, I don't understand, why did I get it wrong? And I'm trying to observe. And then my son had his, what you call it, across each other like this, diagonally, kind of, like an X. And she said, "Well, I need to know if he's finished." So I said, "Oh, no, he hasn't closed it yet." She said, "No, well, actually, in some places, when you have the knives and forks like this, yes, it means that you're finished. And for some, when you have the knives and forks side by side, it actually means that you are not finished," which is why she had to ask me. Okay? But they are coming from a Swedish English background. So they have to check, and then the clientele they have would not just be Jamaicans, would be some expatriates, etc., etc. Wouldn't it? Yeah. Hi there, Carrie. Welcome. Okay, I just noticed that you stepped in. All right. So let's go. Strategic competence, the ability to use verbal and nonverbal communication techniques to compensate for breakdowns in communication or for insufficient competence, okay? So when you utilize things like repetition, that's you trying to understand somebody. So if you think of a case where you are at a car park trying to park your car, right? A very frustrating situation. You know how to park your car. You normally park your car by yourself, right? But someone is going to tell you how to park your car. But the person is constantly giving you contrasting instructions or directions. Okay, I think we experience that quite a bit sometimes. And you have to say, "What you saying? What you mean? Turn left? Huh?" So what you are doing right there is demonstrating strategic competence. Somebody who does not have strategic competence is not going to negotiate in that way. They're going to say, "I'm parking, brother, I'm sorry, I did not understand what you are saying," and they walk off, okay? And then leave it at that. So the strategic competence, or sometimes you have to avoid. You recognize that this conversation is going nowhere. This person is extremely angry. They will remain angry, and it perhaps will accelerate. It will get worse. So I avoid. Okay, so you understand that this is a situation that I should not say anything. I should remain silent and move on, ignore or avoid. So that's strategy. And you can understand how strategic comes into play now, because you are utilizing strategy. Okay? All right, before we go on, any questions from anybody?
Yes.
Okay. So we have canal, let's see here, canal and Swain. Right, and Merrill Swain. Okay. Niran, Kira, you okay?
Yes, I'm all right.
Great. Vernon, I'm not hearing from you. Are you okay? Not hearing from Vernon. All right, Karen. All right, Vernon, mind if I don't sleep on me? You cannot afford to sleep. You what?
Master Technology.
Okay. All right. And Kerry, I know you came in late. We're looking at communicative competence. Yes. So the PowerPoint itself just started pretty recently because we were looking at the speaking acronym before, and that's what we were going through. All right. So hopefully you can catch on as we go ahead. All right. Hold on now. Let's go. So this is what I want you to do now, and we can do it. Let's check the time here. We can do it. Okay, we have a little time. All right. I want us, let me see if I can probably, Vernon is on his own and Carrie is on her own. All right, just look at this for me. I want you to consider this situation, right? And I hope you see that lovely picture. I have to work hard to get these pictures on the PowerPoint, you know, so please make sure you take note of the visuals. Okay, let's disregard that. All right, so these people are trapped in an elevator, all right? So the setting, you realize, is the elevator. Agree? All right, the participants, we have two engineers. We have a woman who has had very bad experiences with men, okay? We have an elderly man who has never been in a high-rise building prior to this event. Remember, these people are trapped in the elevator right now, right? We have a mother, and we have her only child. So she's a first-timer, and she's also with the child who is her only child. So we have a serious situation going on. And the child is 4 years old, okay? Not somebody that you can reason with. Now, the situation is that they're stuck in this elevator, okay? And your focus for this activity is analyzing the communicative event. Now, what I want you to do is, I want you to look at what differences might occur in language use among these participants, okay? And what might influence their different uses of language. So unfortunately, Carrie and Vernon, I'm gonna have to ask you to work on your own. But everybody else, Leroy, you have company now, right? So you two can work on it, just and everybody here can work on it. You can work on it as 4 people in here now, right? I want you to just look at what differences might occur in language use among these different participants and what might influence their different uses of language. Let me give you the participants again. You perhaps need to quickly jot them down so that I can keep the PowerPoint focused on the actual instruction for the activity. We're in an elevator. There are 2 engineers. I should have placed that they're male engineers, actually. Okay, so there are 2 male engineers. There's a woman in there who has had very bad experiences with men. There's an elderly man who has never been in a high-rise building prior to this event. There's a mother, and there's the only child for the mother, and the child is 4. All right, I'll give you another minute just to finish taking that in. All right, and so the activity now is you're to look at, just jot down in a very basic way, what differences might occur in language use among these participants and what might influence their different uses of language. That's your focus for the next 10 minutes. And we'll come back after that.
They give us an activity to do.
Okay.
Oh, mute the mic.
Okay.
It's there are a set of people. Okay, look, it's in an elevator that is stuck. Mm-hmm. 2 male engineers, a woman who has had bad experiences with men, An elderly man who has never been in a high-rise building prior to this. Over 4 years.
Thanks.
Took out her screen is not being shared there. That's what's going on there. You say wave if you're having a problem, or you see they're not seeing, they're not watching that. So like,
Okay, we're back. I don't know what just happened, but whatever just happened, we're back.
yeah, we're not seeing that question. We're not seeing your computer screen.
Let me go again. Oh, sorry about that. I don't know what happened. I just noticed it went missing. Are you back on now?
Yeah, we need to see the question now.
There you go.
Right.
All right, great. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened.
That's all right. Where's the mic? Where do we mute? Okay.
Okay, we're gonna come back together in another 3 minutes. All right, so everybody should be okay. Kelly, you ready for us? No? You're muted, so I can't hear what you said. I can just see that vehement shaking of the head. All right, we're going to start, so you can just chip in when you can. All right? You don't have the, oh, you have, okay. So, Kelly, what you just took about is your ability to unmute at any point? All right, okay. All right, Leroy, we're back on. All right, Vernon, we're back on. All right, so let's go. Can I hear from Leroy and Kira first, then Vernon, then we'll come to our group here at Mona, and then we'll go to Kelly. In that order. Let's just hear some of the ideas you have. Go ahead.
Okay, well, the first part was what differences might occur in language use among the participants. So we said, all right, we have 2 male engineers who would probably use a calmer tone of voice. Okay, probably the phrases and sentences that they use might be more relaxing and whatnot, or trying to calm down the rest of the people in the elevator. Because, and then for the second part, what might influence the different, because of their knowledge as engineers. Probably they know that when the elevator stops, there is this and that is correct, that is probably giving a problem, so it can possibly be fixed within a matter of, so they just have to wait it out. So they might be a lot more calm.
Good.
Okay, with the elderly man who never went on an elevator before in a high-rise building. We spoke about him using a more stressful tone of voice.
Certainly.
Okay? Anxious and whatnot, because he's in a new situation.
Yeah.
And it's quite a scary situation for him because of his inexperience.
Good.
And Kira will do the other two.
Yes.
So we'd say that the woman with the bad experiences with men, she might, like in the elevator, we think that the male engineers probably want to take charge and try to calm everybody down because of their past experience, because of the fact that they engineers.
Yeah.
So maybe that this woman who's had bad experiences, men, she might be angry, she might be resentful of these men trying to take charge, like who put you in charge?
Right.
You know, she might even go in a little corner by herself, away from the rest of the group.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Now, for the mother with the 4-year child, we kind of have different opinions.
Okay.
Because Leroy is thinking that, okay, the mother might be anxious, this is her only child, so she'll be worried.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking like the mother would probably try to be calm so the child can see that she's not overreacting, so the child itself will not start to cry or be afraid.
Okay, so she will console the child then.
She'll try to console him, yes.
Okay, okay. I understand both.
Yeah,
all right. Great, good job. Vernon.
All right. I think I'll probably start from what might influence their different uses of language.
Great, yes.
So certainly the educational levels, or the supposed difference in educational levels.
Okay.
The educational occupants are mentioned, but the engineers presumably would be talking to each other, discussing perhaps the causes of the problem, some of the solutions. So more than likely they'll be using language or jargon that would reflect the occupations.
Excellent, yes.
So that's where educational level comes in. Age comes in the sense that the language that would be used to the boy and by the boy, is it a boy?
Yeah, well,
by the child, to the child, by the child, would reflect the child's age and the fact that you have a language that is simple and as well as reassuring. And it could be that you might have to use the same simple language. You might have the same simple language coming from the older man.
Yeah.
Who needs reassurance.
Right.
And simple language being directed to him.
Right.
So that's educational level
and age.
The use of the language.
Right.
Experiences. So the experiences of the engineers in one context might influence how they talk about it. They have been through this before. They know that this is like a problem. And you know, some of the experiences. The experience in a different sense of that woman has had harsh experiences with men. Might be different in an elevator with men. In that case, I suppose the experiences. He probably doesn't even see the child and the mother.
Right. Okay.
Coming out, she might be reacting harshly.
Yes.
Or not reacting at all verbally to some of the conversations that are directed at her.
Right.
Her language might reflect her emotional anxieties. Right. Or lack of anxieties, lack of emotion, she is absolutely calm and controlled. In a way that is trained to the anxieties of the situation. Right. The context of the situation can influence the language used. For example, for that all of them are stuck in an elevator, and they might not know when it is going to unstuck, so to speak. You might have different levels of emotion being present. You might have a switch from hope to frantic discussions to absolute silence. There might have a range of emotional contexts. Yeah. Yes,
I get you.
Influence language use. Right. The difference in language use among participants, certainly there'll be some degree of causalness. I think it also uses the concept of register, which is the when people are speaking to each other. Right. So there'll be some degree of casualness between the boy and the mother. There might be some level of informality in a sense, but yet, you know, you get the impression that what they're talking about is the subject, the engineers. In a sense, it's much more formal, so to speak, than say the student language that is employed by the mother to the child or by the older man. Right. Or it could be that the older man, he might not have been stuck in an elevator before. He doesn't like elevators. Right, but just come to the knowledge that, you know, all things are all things.
Yes, sir.
So,
That's I mean, very detailed. Yes, excellent. Excellent. I mean, you've thought of quite a bit to do with the actual communicative event. What the possibilities in that event? Very good. All right. So let me go now to us here. Sonia, let's see if we can discuss. Try not to repeat anything that you have that's different. I would prefer you to focus on the differences rather than the sameness of answer. And then we press on to Shantae and Sashana, and then go to Kerry. Who by that time, Kerry will be perfectly ready. Okay, go ahead, Sonia.
Based on the setting there, 3 things have presented itself to paint the context. We have age, gender, and experience. Based on the communication that will be happening, I guess most people said most of what we were saying. In terms of strategy, well, the 2 men,
right,
the 2 engineers, they are competent, and they're almost now. All the attention will be focused on them because they're now in a bind, and everybody's looking to them because they have the solution.
Yes,
they have the solution to them getting out of this problem. This lady talk about age, gender, experience. The lady who has bad experiences with men may not want to engage them at all. So strategic competence. She's talking to the lady with the baby. Strategies to use the baby now to
get rid of her anxiety.
Not just the anxiety, but as the object to get to the lady, the mother. To get to the man who has the solution. That was strategic communication. Who has the solution? So it's like, oh, the baby's so beautiful, or the baby's so handsome. And we need to get out of this.
So she avoids direct contact. Okay, that's interesting.
And she's here playing on the mother's emotion.
And get to the men
and to get to the men to move faster so that they can get out of this time.
Yep.
So that is what the
that's
old
an
man
interesting
now,
take.
just left on actually.
So you don't see the old man as being. It's funny how Vernon mentioned it, but you don't see him as coming out and being the one that is going to be shouting and carrying on in place. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, quiet. And then and it's a newness thing, right? Because sometimes when we're in a new experience, we may be hesitant to speak. Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. Okay. All right. Anything different like over here?
So when I heard her in that, I mean that in the sense of the Jamaican woman, like nothing to do with them. Yeah, tell them to just get out. I think she would probably communicate more with body language than verbal.
Yeah, okay. That's the woman who has bad experience, has had bad experience. Okay. All right. Just finish up with that, Sashana and Shantae. What else? Did you have anything that was different from what persons mentioned?
Not much of a difference except for that point with the woman. I just thought that she would have remained calm and more observant.
I get you. I think Vernon hinted at it as well. Yes. Yes.
And I don't agree with the point that she would talk to the baby and all that.
Yeah.
She would be more like, and whatever they say, she would probably look up.
Let's just get out of here. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, we also had the part where the woman, her image, her whole idea, perspective about men would probably gradually change based on how the men react.
Okay. So if they're seeing as a good forces. Okay. Okay, all the stretching your road are still coming to. You must have something, Kerry. At least anything, one thing. What you thought about the differences in language use? Did you look at all? And nobody tell me yes, you look at everything. I need that,
I only heard some stuff. I'm not sure.
Oh, really? Okay. So you're having you're not getting the audio well down there.
I hear something, like I heard the last person just now.
Okay. All right, let me know.
But I'm not sure. Did they mention the fact that the engineers could possibly have a cocky or pompous attitude somewhat?
Yeah, nobody mentioned that, but that is possible, isn't it? She said the engineers could actually have a pompous attitude and kind of like an I know it all attitude. Yes. Yes. Okay, so you hear that part, okay? So Sonia is saying, and also being triggered off the response of the woman who has had bad experiences with men.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the child might be asking a lot of questions, because I know 4-year-olds, they'll be asking, Mommy, what's happening here? Why are we stopping?
That's right. Well, that's what I was going to plug in a little more. I was going to say that, listen, of everybody in that place, the one person who is going to be, I would expect to be talking the most and probably driving everybody crazy.
Right, so you're going to frustrate everybody else with his question.
Or on the other hand, they have a way of making you laugh, of making you see the lighter side of a situation based on the crazy things that they may say or how they perceive. Okay, excellent. All right, great. So let's get back to the PowerPoint. I think you've done a great job on that. And I like that. When you guys can do that great job, it's much easier for me. All right, so let's go. So we're going to look at register. Vernon mentioned that word, and I believe, we did touch on it a bit at the start. Language used in the context of any such situation as we have looked at is referred to as register. Okay, you look at the different registers utilized in different contexts. And really we have two main kinds of registers. We have the kind of register that is subject focused, right, which is what I was explaining to you about the keywords in this course. That's a subject focused register, which is known as a jargon. Okay, and you have the addressee register, which focuses on the style itself, how the person is speaking in the addressee situation. Same thing as sender receiver. Okay, so the subject focused register, with this register, the addresser is actually concentrating on the exposition or communication of the subject matter. Clear? So you see where the subject focus idea comes from. It's highly formal in terms of, you have particular principles, ideas, concepts, etc. related to a subject matter. And so the register is reflecting all of that. It's usually the language of trade or the language of that professionals would use. All right. So somebody mentioned earlier, I'm not sure who, my memory fades on that, but somebody mentioned earlier the idea that the engineers would be talking about what they could possibly do. It's likely that if that is a situation, they would have been using particular jargons, particular ways of speaking that, of course, the woman and the elderly man, and even more so the child, would find totally, they would see it as clueless. They wouldn't have an understanding of what this language is that they're using. Then you have, I should have had, right. I'll come back to that activity. Then you have the addressee register, which deals with the style. And so the aim in conversation is to establish and maintain social relationships. Agreed? As we talk, even if you're not going to be now careful about how you see social relationships. Social relationship does not mean that the aim for every conversation is to get close up and personal. That's not what it's saying. But in every single communicative situation, you really want to be the kind of person that persons will look at and say, oh, she has great interpersonal skills, right? Or he has great interpersonal skills. So this is likely to be a spoken register, and it varies according to context and culture. So registers of social life can be trivial at one end, but on the other end, they can involve deep, personal, intimate realities, okay? So the way you might address your principal at work is not the way you would address your friend, right? So this type of register is dependent on who is in the communicative event, who is speaking and who is receiving the message. That will determine what register I use. That will determine my style of speaking. So you see that this one shifts, whereas the subject focus tends to be quite rigid, quite strict, because it's based on a particular subject area and knowledge of that subject area. Okay, any questions? All right, So just let's do this quickly together. As soon as you finish, you can let me know. We just really talk. I want you to complete a list of 5 words that can be considered as part of the subject focus register for this course. You should be able to do this in like 10 seconds, people. I mean, you know, should be flying on this one. 5 words, and this is related to your assignment, so you can always use it again. 5 words based on this course that are subject focus words, jargon words for this course.
Context.
5 words. Yes, context is one. Okay, good. All right, hold on. Let me. So someone said context, and I think that's great. If you guys didn't get that, I would either have to resign or gently, quietly leave the room and not come back. Okay. All right. Carrie, give me another one. Carrie, try unmute and try give me the other one, please. Come on, subject.
Communicative event.
Communicative. That's lovely. Okay, that's great. All right, Vernon, can you give me a word, please?
We speak of communicative competence.
Okay, communicative competence. I expect Vernon to really understand one word. Okay. Kira, you're not going to get away. So I want you, a word from you, and then a word from Lyra separately. You're not acting as a unit in this case. Okay? So Kira, give me a word.
Function.
Excellent, and you've been reading Kira Hamilton. That's excellent stuff. Okay, so you've obviously been reading your stuff. Functional, excellent. Lyra, let's go.
Language structure.
Language structure, very good. All right, let's come across to Mona now. Have I completed everybody in that section? Yes, I have. Shut it.
Maybe.
No dominance thing. Let's go. For this course, because this course automatically assumes that subject focus register. So give me a word that we've been using. It's the same as the keyword. Let me come back to you, Sashana.
Encode.
Encode. All right. All right. What's the word?
Function, encode, structure, context.
Yes.
The one.
Okay.
But I'm not
You are
understanding. No,
okay, so what I'm trying to get you to do is understand the subject focus register. The register is the language that is used that pertains to, specifically pertains to this course. So when you come into this course, if I took one of you now and I said, listen, I'm doing this course online, which I do, right? And I need you to be a tutor because we try to use only the persons who have been through the course as tutors, okay? And I say, I need you as a tutor. Once you start tutoring, there's certain words I'm going to be expecting you to use, and there's certain words you're going to be expecting your students to use because you've done this course. So that's the subject focus register. So if you say communicative language teaching approach, if you say, and I could go on, but I'm going to let Sashana and Donna get it. So Sashana, you went through already. Donna, let's go. Relevance. Excellent. Okay? Everybody with me? Everybody seeing what I'm saying? So you understand subject focus register. Right? Purposefulness, I love it. Okay, right. We're getting to the heart of the matter. All right. Let me do one more thing to make sure that to ensure that we've really understood this. St. Lucia, I'm coming to you. Right? Hush, I'm using you up a lot today. Hush. I would like you to tell me, now I don't know the answer, so the truth is I'm going to have to totally depend on your integrity here, okay? Because I'll be clueless as to the answer. But I want you to look at a subject focus register and tell me, give me 3 words. Both of you are from different institutions, correct? Are both of you teaching at this point, Lyra and Kira?
Yes.
You both of you are teaching at this time?
Yes.
Okay, so either one of you can speak, both of you can speak, or one of you can speak. I'd like you to think about your institution and think about the vision or the mission or the idea or the goals, whatever your principal keeps saying forever and forever and forever, okay? I want you to give me two words. Give me 2 words that when I think about your school or when you think about your school, those 2 words are evident. Those 2 words keep coming back. What would they be? Did Lyra just disappear?
Okay, for my school,
yes,
we talk about family a lot.
Good.
Yes, because our principal always wants it to be not so much formal as a teacher over there and the student here, but more a closer relationship, so like the children can come to us if anything and stuff like that.
Okay, so family oriented would be a subject focus register, jargon. Good. One more?
And we always speak about excellence.
Yes.
Because we believe we're the best school on the island.
Oh boy, you already heard that? Okay. Okay. All right. So the standard of excellence. Good.
Yes.
Okay. Excellent quality. Good. All right. Lyra, you want to throw one or you disappear because you don't want to throw it? Is she going to throw out one for me from her institution? Or she'd rather not say? Hello?
Oh, so I gotta figure that out for mine.
Say that again?
Me?
Yes, Lyra! All right, we're back. Again, I don't know what happened. All right, everybody seeing and hearing? Lyra, Kira, can you see and hear? Is my mic muted? No. Carrie, can you hear me? Nobody's hearing me. Vernon, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
All right. Lyra and Kira, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Carrie, thumbs up if you can hear me, please. All right. Beautiful. Okay. Okay, so I think everybody got a point. Is there anybody who does not understand the subject focus register? And remember, these things you can also go over and reinforce, but just have a basic understanding. All right, let's move on quickly. All right, so we're going to look at, we're going to look at Juice 1967. And Juice assesses the way language takes place through the psychological distance. We'll get into that, through the psychological distance or degrees of formality. So psychological distance is synonymous with degrees or levels of formality of participants in a communicative event. So he looks at the way in which we measure and determine what level of formality to use in particular communicative events, okay? So the first style is called the frozen style, and it's important that you know these styles, okay? The frozen style is used in writing and is seen as frozen in the sense that it is not subject to change by interaction with the addressee, and it's permanent, okay? So much so that it might be seen as literature, okay? An extreme example is Charles Dickens. Now, if I use Charles Dickens, if you know anything about Charles Dickens, you should understand what I mean by frozen immediately, okay? If you think of Tale of Two Cities, does anybody know that text, Tale of Two Cities? Say people should know the text. No, but right. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. Great. Okay.
The Tale of Two Cities. That's what she said.
Right, Tale of Two Cities. You guys have French orientation. Did you read that? Anybody to do with anything Frenchish? Anyway, all right. So would you please grab me the favor? That's the kind of frozen use of language, extremely formal. If you think of those horrible, and hopefully nobody here is in the legal side of things in the way that will not understand my use of this. If you think of those horrible legal documents, when the sale of a house, and I hereby bequeath to thee. Okay? These really, and when you look at it, you're thinking, and rent. People do it for rent as well. I know here, people do it for rent as well. And you look at the contract, and you think, really, in 20 whatever, yes, and they it's very distant and very frozen. Okay. The second one is formal. So note the difference between the frozen and the formal. The frozen is not shiftable. You don't move it. It can't shift. Not movable, right? The formal, this is a style of pre-involvement where you use formal phrases such as may I introduce, and those phrases are used. The speaker is making no commitment to anything. It's a distant relationship. Okay? Clear? But it's not as extreme as frozen. All right? Then you have the consultative style of language. And this is the style of conversation where the addresser supplies information and the addressee participates continuously, which is why it's called consultative. Okay? If you think of what a consultant does, right? So the idea is that the two persons are willingly engaging or participating in this communicative event. Okay? And so you may say, hello, how are you today? I'm fine, thank you. May I help you with this? No, thank you, I'm good. Or usually the case is, even if you don't want to help, may I help you with this? Sure, go ahead.
I don't want you to help.
Or if you don't, yes, but sometimes we don't want, but we end up, exactly, we end up still, pretending, being polite. Okay? All right, let's look at the next one. We're looking at casual here. This is the language of insider groups. Okay, so we spoke of that. We spoke of, I think Brennan mentioned the persons in the elevator moving from a level of formality to a casual level because they're enclosed in one area. We use this language with our friends, our family members, colleagues, etc. This is the language of insider groups where friends and colleagues communicate without it being necessary to supply information in the way that they would have to supply this information to strangers. Is that clear to everybody? All right. So if you come and I say, oh, you did it again? You went? Did you go? I don't have to say, did you go to the doctor? Yeah. Right? Were you late again? I don't have to go through all of that because you're so close to me and you understand what I'm trying to say because something prior to this event would have supplied that information. Okay? But to a stranger, clearly, I can't ask that. Yes?
This morning I accidentally sent a WhatsApp broadcast. So I was sending a picture, I don't know if you know. On my phone, it was a caption. So I had a photo of a student, current student, and a past student who came to the open day. So they were standing in the hallway introducing themselves. So I was sending it to the student at the college, and it ended up going on a broadcast. So Dr. Blossom Amelia Nelson, if you know her and how witty she is, she was on the board of management for the college, but she's now doing some consultative work. And it went to her, and in her very witty way, she just sent me back a blank screen. Like, okay,
yes.
Context,
so yes,
photograph.
Yes. What's the point? Yes, what's your point? Yes, yes, yes.
No, she's like that. And then I'm like, and then she paused for a long while.
Yes.
I wonder what my response was going to be.
And then she sent something else. Okay. But thankfully, you're not one of those people who jump on a response.
But before I got to get familiar with her when she was on the board, she was the deputy board chairperson.
Yes.
I sent an email. So that was when the board just came into existence, about 2 months or 4 months. I sent an email to the board chairman, who is Ambassador Derek Heaven. And I don't remember, but the tone was not very formal. I think I sent it to the president and said, see attached. So I didn't address him. The lady created a storm in a teacup. She was just trying to find out, as the PR, do you know protocol?
Yes.
You know, so you talk about context and you talk about formality and
styles of language. All right. Okay, so we can pass that one. I think everybody understands that one. Intimate. Now, this you need to know. So look at the difference with frozen, formal, and then look at the difference with casual and intimate. Very important. Intimate now is the style that is produced by usually two people who are so close that they use words and phrases that have meaning only for them. Light, ready? Okay, you hardly have anything to say, or in fact you have a lot of non-verbals and not actually verbals. Okay, clear? So the idea is you should be able to see any sentence or given set of phrases, and you should have an idea what style of language those would fit into. Okay, all right, everybody good to go? All right, let's do this. Let's look at the time again. Let's do this together, just to save time, right? It says complete one of the following pieces of writing. So just jot it down and then we'll just come together with it, right? A request for a loan in the consultative style, and I'll shift back to allow you to see what that looks like. Kira and Leroy, can you just work on that for me? A request for a loan in the consultative style. Just write down how that might look. And remember, it's not the formal style, it's the consultative style. So it means the conversation now is that the addresser is supplying information and the addressee is participating in that event. It's not a formal situation, it's consultative. All right? Okay. A notice about a canceled class in the intimate style. All right? You see that? All right. Yes, ma'am. I'm pushing the limits. I'm pushing. But if you understand these, then you're good to go. So I noticed about a canceled class in the intimate style. Carrie, right up your street, right? Carrie, respond, Carrie. Respond. You, Carrie. No, you, Carrie. Carrie and Brian. Just deal with that for one friend. I don't afraid of Vernon right now. I'm afraid to do that right now. No, Carrie and Carrie, Donna, and Sonia, work on B for me, please. Carrie, Donna, I keep saying Donna from this evening. I've been saying Donna. Kevin, works. Let's go again. Carrie, Donna, and Sonia. Yes. Please work on B for me, right? And Vernon, Shauna, and Shante. Shante, am I pronouncing your name right? Okay. Please work on C. A marriage proposal in the frozen style. Vernon, take it easy. Okay? So I'm going to just go through them quickly so that everybody has a chance to kind of see what, be reminded of them. But just note what you're supposed to be doing, all right? A request for a loan, a notice about a canceled class, but it's in the intimate style, and a marriage proposal in the frozen style. So let's go through. That's consultative.
Will you go back to frozen, please?
Yes, I'm going there now. That's frozen. Great. So we're not expecting any interaction will change the situation. You're not opening anywhere, you're not accommodating of any other thought except your own. And what was the other one I said? Intimate. There is intimate.
Are we? No? Are we supposed to be talking to
Carrie, you mean?
Carrie, about what we're doing now?
No, Carrie's managing on her own for now. Because Carrie, you don't have Google Tab. Do you have WhatsApp?
Yes, I do.
Alright, so you need to give me your number. So that's I think you sent it. Did you send it already? So Carrie, why if you have Google Talk, if you have WhatsApp, why you don't have Google Talk?
I don't know what it is.
I would have told you, shown you. It's just an app like WhatsApp. I thought you had a nice little baby phone, and that's why you didn't want to.
I know. I have the WhatsApp on my Kindle.
Oh, okay.
I have to jailbreak it to get it.
Okay, all right. Give me, if you don't mind, can you just, well, actually, you have, no, but I don't want her to say it over this. I don't want her to say her number over this.
Oh, yeah.
can you text me or WhatsApp me? You have my number, right?
No.
Okay, let's go. So it's 472. No, it's
472.
We're still gonna be in the same band. I'm trying to avoid saying it. That's what I'm trying to do. No, she can't WhatsApp. I don't have her number. Yeah, but it's still on video.
Is it that you're trying to send me something now?
You have access to email on your phone now?
No, no Wi-Fi here. Somehow.
What do you mean no Wi-Fi? So how come using the Ethernet cord to communicate?
I don't have access to it.
It's crazy. You're supposed to have Wi-Fi access as a part of the requirements. I have to plug in something for you. All right, so just work on your for now, and then we'll do emails. I'll try to make sure. And most people send their numbers, I know, to everybody. But you need to be able to view your email. Praise the Lord.
Nice. They're looking for some Shakespeare.
Shakespeare's definitely right, huh?
Being in the communication.
Yeah.
I love this class.
Okay, let me see if we can start. All right, so a request for a loan in the consultative style. So Leah and Kira, are you back? Are you there?
Yes, we're here.
So you ready to read that request? Okay, should I ask the question another way? Can you read what you have? Yes. Yes.
Okay, so our address would be the loans officer.
Yes.
And the address would be the client, the person seeking the loan.
Yeah.
Okay, so all right, so Lyra is the loans officer.
Okay. So that's a real play. What you say? Anyway, go ahead. Lovely. Lovely. Go ahead.
Okay. Good morning. And how may I assist you?
I would like to apply for a student loan.
Do you have the requirements for this loan?
What do I need?
Well, you would probably need a salary slip, a job letter, the land register for your mortgage.
Yes, I have all these here.
Well, as long as you have this, as long as we can get this information, we just need some time to process this loan.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Lovely, right? right, very good. All right, let's move now. Okay, so we are on to Kerry, Sonia, Dharma. That's it, right? Yes. Kerry, Sonia, and Dharma. No, sir? Yes. So why is Sonia looking at me like that? No. Kerry is in Mobile. So she's going to respond for herself. And let me check. Which one of you is going first?
I'm ready.
Oh, okay. Wow. When Kerry says she's ready, we got it. Okay. Wow. Go ahead.
Okay, so a boy comes up and he says to a girl, his friend, he says, hey, you want flex?
Hey, what?
Hey, you want
Flex.
Okay. Just making sure we got the word right. Okay. Everybody else got
And it's just a slang, an intimate language.
Yes.
Okay, so he says, hey, you want flex? And then the girl responds and says, but what about? And then he says, it's canceled.
Okay.
More than likely, he would be assuming that she knows that he's talking about the class.
Okay, so that's your notice. Okay, all right, no problem. So what you're doing there is you're inserting particular uses of vocabulary to indicate the intimate style. Is that correct? Excellent. All right. Okay. Dharma and Sonia.
She's not here.
I can't capture this. Okay. All right. I was trying to capture the two of them, but I can't seem to. All right, go. Okay.
She's not there? Great. Let's go.
Okay. All right. It's okay that she is the lecturer or the poor lecturer or poor teacher. You see the looks of happiness. Okay, we don't want to say this is not her. Okay. All right. And so of course you've left off. If you notice what they did is they left out particular things. They didn't go into saying the name of the person and etc. So that's okay. All right. So I'm saving you for last. Okay. I think we need to be able to manage. So I'm saving you for last. I'm going to go to Sashana and Shante now.
Okay, you were looking at the marriage proposal in the form of thousand style.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
We came up with this.
All right.
My dearest Julia.
Wow.
I shall be very pleased if you will accept my proposition of marriage.
Hold on. I just want to check. Is everybody hearing this?
Yes, I'm here.
Are you hearing? No, Leah and Kira, are you hearing? No? Oh, yes. Yes? Vernon, are you hearing? All right, so Kerry, I don't know, for some reason Kerry's not hearing. So I'm going to ask you just to speak about a little bit, Shante. You have to go from the beginning. We have to do what we call in Jamaica, pull up. Okay. I did it in a very nice, politically correct way. I could have been worse. Let's go.
My dearest Julia, I shall be very pleased if you shall accept my proposition of marriage, hoping that it may be so that I may have the honor.
All right. Everybody heard that. A very Shakespearean proposal. All right. Thank you very much. All right. Vernon.
Yes, I'm not sure I can introduce the program, but this is what I know. It would please me greatly. I'm sure you would understand it. Were you to agree with my wife?
I was talking over here and I could not hear you. Okay, let's go again. They were cracking up and I could not hear you. So let's go again, please, from the start.
It would please me greatly and I'm sure you would consent for you to agree to be my wife.
Wow. All right. Lovely. I'm not going to put for that to the brother. All right. Oh, you're not finished. Go ahead.
I'm finished.
You finished?
Yes.
Yes, okay, that's excellent. So everybody I think is spot on, and I think that means that you understand clearly the different styles of language. Okay? That's excellent. Alright. So let's press on quickly. Just so that we can and we have another 20 minutes to go, so I want to make sure we end in the right place. Okay? So communication is not a free-for-all, as only certain structures are allowed in certain texts, and text messages, same idea, okay? There's requirement for the speaker to make choices about which structures are appropriate in which given context, and that's important. Such knowledge is important, of course, particularly in a bilingual environment, and the idea, ladies and gentlemen, is that the Caribbean has that kind of environment, okay? All right. Let's go again. When spoken, so what we're going to look at now, we're going to look at the psychological factors affecting communication. Now, to be honest, as seems to be customary with this group, you all tend to touch on what we're going to touch on long before we get to touch on it, okay? Which is good, which is excellent, because it means it naturally happens, and I like that. When spoken or written communication is produced, the meanings and the linguistic resources drawn upon to create those meanings are often dependent on, couched in, belong to a particular context. Is that clear? Let's go back through that again. The spoken or written communication which is produced, the meanings and the linguistic resources, the things that the knowledge I use in order to frame the structures are dependent upon a context, okay? So in other words, these contextual factors affect the communication that is produced. I can have a perfectly accurate sentence that I would have no problem using in Jamaica, but when I use it somewhere else, it does not mean the same thing, and therefore communication does not take place, though the structure is intact. Okay? So appropriateness is important. Where am I? So the register, the text, what we just did a while ago, we just looked at, would have been speaking to the register. Language used within any given context is often affected by what? By how we see. Okay? What we see, how we see. Meaning that how we perceive things affects communication. Okay? Both for sender and receiver. All right. Look at this now. Some of you may know it already. It's a very common thing, very popular. There are two images that you can get out of there. Now, I don't want you to talk to each other yet. I'm going to go around and ask each person, and I want you to tell me what you see. Okay? So, Lyra, do you see a young woman right there? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Kira, what do you see?
A young woman.
That's great. Kerry, what do you see?
I see a hug.
Have mercy, Kerry.
What Kerry said, a hug, an old person.
Kerry, do you see an old woman or a young woman?
An old woman.
Okay, that's why you see the hug. Okay, okay. Vernon, what do you see?
I see an old woman.
All right. Shante. Shante, you see it? Shante says, look, people, I'm seeing a young woman with a feather in her hat.
Yeah.
Sashana, what do you see?
I'm seeing a young woman who probably has on a fur hat.
So a young woman who has on what seems to be a fur hat with a feather and a coat or a hair, okay? And Donna?
I'm seeing a young woman with feather in her hair. I don't know if she might be shawl over her head.
So, this is the hair of the young woman. Everybody agree?
Yes.
Right?
Right. That's the feather This seems to be some kind of hat. This is her nose right here, her eyelash, and it seems to be a fur coat. Alright, watch what I'm gonna do now. You see it now? Are you seeing an old woman now? Vernon already saw the old woman. See the nose? She's saying I get excited, so I run back to the screen.
I'm not seeing it.
That's the nose for the old woman. Those are her eyes. That's her hair. This is her lip. Right?
Oh,
You are able to see. Vernon, can you see the young woman and the old woman?
I see her nose, her mouth, right? Look at her old chin, and her eyes, and she's like this.
Right.
I'm not seeing it.
So I'm not. Who doesn't see the old woman? Donna doesn't see the old woman, so we're trying to.
That's the shawl. Okay. And this whole thing here is her nose.
So the key is to see her chin. So everybody now is able to see both.
Yeah, God, I can see both. Yes.
So Vernon is saying something. Yes.
Everything should be a hack.
What are you saying, Vernon?
I still.
Hang on.
Might be one-dimensional in no argument.
Say that again. What might be one-dimensional?
That I'm one-dimensional, but I only see the old woman.
No, it's you still don't see the young. But when I showed you a while ago, did you see the young woman? See this is the nose of the young woman, and this is the young woman's chin going into her neck, and this is a necklace that the young woman is wearing. This is her ear. This is the young woman's ear. Are you seeing it?
I see what you're showing me, but I'm not able to visualize the face separate from that chin down there.
Okay, well, I'm going to email it to everybody. But there are about 3 more actually. And at the same time, yes, one, I know it. And there's a letter one as well. Okay, so the bottom line is, and I don't want to, I'm gonna to look at what you just said, Vernon, because you said you're wondering if it's that you're one-dimensional. So really, this is not demonstrating if there's a weakness or not in any of us, or if there's a limitation to our sight or vision, right? Or our way of seeing things. What it just demonstrates is that for whatever reason, based on our personalities, and you can go and Google this up, and you look at it. I'll send you the image with the artist behind it. But the reality is, what it's saying is, we see life differently. We see things differently based on our perception of things.
Because surprisingly, he obviously sees the old woman, but
yes.
obviously I just see the young
woman. And you saw only young woman. So some persons saw only old woman, and some persons saw only young woman. Okay, and that's interesting. Okay.
If I saw the old woman, does that mean I'm a negative person?
No, so that's what I'm saying. There's no evidence to suggest that it's anything bad or good. It's just literally perception. It's how we see things. When I first saw it, I could not.
It could mean that we are realists. We look at what is there.
Yeah, you gone deep. Violence could mean that we're realists. We'll see what is there. But the fact of the matter is, 2 things are there. That's the thing, Vernon. 2 things are there, and some of us started off. We eventually might see both, but when we started off, we only saw one thing. Okay, and something in our brains enabled that. So it's neither a weakness or a strength. It's nothing good or bad. Okay, it's just exactly. So let's look at this. Some of the things we have come up with or perceived, and this is where I'm going, have no basis in fact. Wait, before we go there. How we categorize and interpret stimulus is highly individualistic. That's very important. It's very important to understand that just because I intended to have a lesson this way and I'm using a picture this way, or I'm setting pardon me, a particular task this way does not mean that's how my student perceives it automatically. Okay? So my intended message is not necessarily the message that goes out, that is received. And that's important. Let me try to say this a nice way. At the end of the day, if I've communicated and what you get is totally opposite to what I intended for you to get, I have not communicated. That's the bottom line. It's hard to take and it's unfortunate, but it's the bottom line. So you have to, that's where the negotiation comes in to get to understand what my intended meaning actually was. The problem is most of us don't wait to find out what the intended meaning was. We react to what we receive and then that's the end of the day. Okay? So our impressions of things and how we interpret things depends on our past history, culture, language, age, gender, class, who we are, how we see ourselves, and then of course how others see us. Unfortunately, we tend to focus a lot on the last one. Okay? Look at these words for me, please, everybody. So I'm just gonna throw these at you, right? Dharma, pork, you think of a pig. Pork, curry, you think of whatever comes to your mind. Fast, say it fast. Pork. When I say pork, curry, what comes to your mind? I can't hear you because the mute is on. Go. Curry.
Curry, gosh, I'm not sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Pork?
Yeah.
Unclean.
Okay. All right. Miss, when I say Miss Kira, what comes to your mind when I say Miss?
A young woman.
Okay, what comes to your mind, Vernon, when I say Miss?
I don't see Miss.
Miss.
I don't see Miss.
Miss.
No, I see MS.
Okay, so you saw MS.
I'm not M and it is capital M.
Okay, there's in caps. Okay.
So I am seeing MS and I'm thinking
So Samuel said because it was capitalized, she's not seeing Miss at all. Okay. Who had I just asked about? Vernon. Sorry, Vernon. When you see MS, what comes to your mind? When you see Miss, what comes to your mind?
Computer jargon.
Say that again?
As in messenger, MS.
Okay, so you're on Samuel's wavelength as well. Okay, Africa, Leo, when you see Africa?
Black.
Black, okay, Shante, Africa?
beauty, civilization.
Beauty. Love, when you see love, Sashana? Sashana, I don't know if you heard the answer. Anyway, Sashana, what is love? People, she says. Okay, Vernon, when you hear love, what do you think of?
Warm.
Think of what?
Warm. Warm. W-A-R-M-T-E.
Say that one more time.
Warmth. W-A-R-M-T-E.
Okay, I got you. Lovely. All right. Okay, love. Okay, you have to remember that your button is muted.
Okay, right. Very good.
This is love. All right. Okay, let's move fast because I have about 5 minutes and I want to get to a particular place. Some of the things we come up with or perceive have no basis in fact.
That's it now.
In fact, the problem with perceptions is that they can become fixed, and when they become fixed, they're known as stereotypes.
Really? But she's not a fat. She's never been fat. Huh?
Can we mute?
Say Lucia.
Hello, yes, sorry.
So the problem with perceptions, especially when they're not rooted in fact, is that they become fixed and they become stereotypes. We have a mental picture and an understanding of incoming data, things that we are trying to process, okay? But the truth is we should be able to change that information when we receive new information that ought to alter it. The issue is when we receive new information contrary to our own and we refuse to alter it and we stay fixed in the stereotypical zone, okay? If our ideas do not change, we will have problems. Okay? So, is someone with locks always a ganja smoking delinquent? No. Is some black boys always a druggies? No. Alright? Sometimes we try to seek out false perceptions simply to confirm our own prejudices. Okay? So we have to watch that, we have to be careful. Those are called stereotypes. Social factors, you guys again went in very well with this because the activity demonstrated your clear understanding of the social factors affecting that elevator situation. Age is one factor that affects communication. The fact of the matter is that in our side, the Caribbean region, children have fewer speaking rights than adults. That's not the same case for the European side. Okay? They're given much more freedom to speak and to have an opinion. Children also have fewer conversational opportunities because of the limitations of their attention span, and this is generally. They are unable to concentrate as long as we are, so we can't have 2 and 3 hour sessions with our children because we have had 2 or 3 hour long sessions with whoever, okay? Right, yes, that's an excellent point. By 5 years old, children can tell stories that are focused on a single topic, but they might have some problems with coherence and sustained communication. Okay, so age makes a difference. You cannot expect from a 12-year-old what you expect from a 20-year-old. So therefore, because you can do the task, does not mean the student can do the task. You have to base it on the age level. All right? Quickly, cultural differences and age. There are cultural differences based on what I just said. You should realize that with respect to age and communication. Standards of appropriate social behavior dependent on the values or the views of a particular culture. Some societies do not recognize the rights and abilities of children, and they do not regard their talk as sensible or meaningful. Others look more into it, and clearly I'm focusing on children because of the fact that we're focused on language teaching. Social class, that shouldn't be doubled there. Social class is a controversial concept. Hazlitt actually uses it to refer to the way power and status, and you'll get some notes on this, to the way power and status are accorded as a result of economic background, wealth, education, and occupation. So the idea is, I think you are from a social class, a certain social class, because of how you dress, because of your certification, because of how much money you got in your pockets. Yes, okay. And of course, the job that you have. And unfortunately, we treat people in this way. So respect is afforded only when they meet certain criteria where these are concerned. Okay, I'm going to skip that for now. Thompson also offers meaningful discussion on the issue of sex and gender, with the idea that girls and boys are socialized differently, and as a result, they use language differently. They not only use language differently, but they understand language in different ways. And when we are speaking to them, we tend to use language differently. Okay, something that we will address later on because it's very important once we're teaching.
The next course foundation, one is about a study that no man, not Dr. Christopher, shouted principal, I think. On gender, boys, and thing,
the difference.
I think that would lead this.
Okay.
Just download.
So good. So your courses are overlapping, which is a good thing. All right. Okay. All right. So think about this for me, just as we're on the note of gender, which, as I said, you're going to get readings on. In what ways are women and men spoken or written about differently through the use of language? So if you think of books, yes, whether they be academic or they be books for pleasure and entertainment, how are women and men written about differently, and in conversations, how are they spoken of in different ways? All right, what types of adjectives are used? What types of connections are made with regard to men and women? How are men and women defined and perceived through uses of language in particular contexts? Do we tend to see men as aggressive? Do we tend to see women as passive? We can, look at, just think about those things because, of course, it affects. All right, so finishing up now and dealing with the psychological and social factors affecting communication, what we're looking at is the context of communication. I'm hoping that you've seen that in everything we did today, we focused on context and social and the psychological aspects help to define and characterize that context. Okay? We have considered the way in which language changes based on the actual situation. Okay? So it's not just the structure that is able to allow you to become competent. You have to be able to use that structure in given situations and perhaps use it differently in given situations, producing the different kinds of language that we refer to, as we have spoken about already, as register. We have also considered the impact of the individual mind on the situation, what is seen, perceived, and how it might be interpreted. Okay? When we go on to next week, we're going to pull some of these, the perception, the interpretation, all of these will come into oral language communication, written communication, and we could continue. Okay? Reading as communication, and focus on the differences there. Okay? So, as usual, I will send this PowerPoint to you by Thursday. And Sonia will remind me. This week I did not send it and I did not realize, and nobody said anything. But anyway. Okay. So, Vernon, all is well? You with us and your understanding, yes?
Yes.
Great. Carrie, thumbs up if you're good to go. Lira and Kira, all is well. You've understood what we were doing today. Kira, you're not looking like you're feeling out of place at all. So clearly you've come right into the swing of things, and that's great. All right. Yes. All right. And of course, my four astute academics here.
Dr. Spencer?
Yes, Lira.
I thought you were going to describe the assignment today, the blog assignment.
I did it. That's the first thing I did.
I forgot.
The one day that you happened to be late. Can you imagine that?
I missed that.
But what you can do is you have Skype, Lira?
Yes.
So send me your Skype name, right? Email your Skype name and we can talk.
Okay, all right. I'll try to do that.
Together. Right.
All right. Okay.
So have a great night. Thank you as usual for being a great.
Okay, all right.
All right. Good night.
All right. Thank you.